Wild Tales is sponsored by Cotswold Outdoor. When we're out in the elements, we're in our element, and outside retail expert Cotswold Outdoor is helping more of us to get out with the right kit. Thanks also to their support, the National Trust is helping walking communities to access the UK's outside spaces. And we're working to fix 15,000 kilometres of paths and trails by 2030 for everyone to enjoy. Find your element with Cotswold Outdoor.
If you just look at water, this sort of perpetual movement and reflection and the journey it's on.
You can hear the water lapping and you just feel very close to it.
You want to look after it because you love it, but equally you want to look after it for the wildlife and the visitors and the people for whom it's an important part of their family history.
Hello, I'm Ranger Rosie Holsworth. This episode we're doing things a little differently and handing over to our producer Marnie, who swapped her edit suite for the calm of the Wey Navigations in Guildford. Marnie lives on a boat on a canal, so who better to take us down one of Britain's oldest and most beautiful waterways? Welcome to Wild Tales, Riverside Reflections.
Hi, I'm Marnie. I'm an audio producer by trade, but at home, I'm a boater. I live on a wide beam called the Alice Rose, and for the past 5 years, the London waterways have been my home. Today, though, I've left my usual stretch of urban canal behind to explore the Wey Navigations, a 20-mile blue-green corridor winding its way from Godalming to Thames Lock. Along the way, I'm hoping to discover the wildlife that thrives here and understand why this river matters so much to so many. And I'm beginning this journey the best way I know how, by boat. We're starting today at Dapdune Wharf. We're heading towards a covered boat shed, and I think I can just about see my ride. As I make my way over, something else catches my eye. Oh my god, a dragonfly! Look at that dragonfly! Even a seasoned river dweller like me jumps with excitement when I see that flash of blue. Anyway, that's got to be Derek, standing beside an elegant open-topped boat. Hi Derek, how's it going?
Hi, nice to meet you.
This boat is absolutely beautiful, and it's also got such a stunning name, the Dapdune Bell.
Dapdune Bell, named after the wharf here. So it's an all-electric boat. It's very quiet and smooth.
That's so different from mine. Mine's a real, chugger.
All right.
So you get the sound. But I imagine this is way better for hearing the sounds of nature as you go up the river.
Yeah, it's completely quiet, so yes, it's really ideal.
I'm hoping we get lucky today, because I hear the river is teeming with wildlife.
The grey wagtail nested right above the boat here one year. We get cormorants, the swans nest, sometimes right in the creek here as well. They go right past the boat.
All right, well, I can't wait. Let's go. We jump aboard and Derek takes the tiller. Derek is doing a stellar job of reversing out of quite a narrow entryway. I'm really impressed.
Done that a few times.
Where are we going to go today? Where are you taking us?
I think we'll be able to get up to Stoke Lock, downstream, towards the Thames, but we're not going that far.
At the moment, we're on a managed river.
It's a natural river, but made navigable, so it's not quite a canal. There are canal sections where there's a big meander. They built a section to cut the corner, so we call it a navigation.
It looks peaceful now, but this stretch was once a working waterway, with horse-drawn barges carrying coal and grain to London.
So it was one of the earliest navigations in the country. It dates back to 1653. So it was Sir Richard Weston who built it, and he saw what the Dutch did with all their canal systems and thought, this is what Surrey needs.
It took just 2 years to dig out the 15-mile stretch from Guildford to Weybridge by hand. The barges may be long gone, but here on the Dapdune Bell, the river feels more alive than ever. We've just got 4 little moorhen chicks riding a little bit in the wave of the boat, clearly just learning how to swim. As we cruise along, I'm struck by how lush the riverbanks are, thick with reeds and flowers right up to the water's edge. It's not just pretty, There's a reason it's left this way.
Through the summer, plenty of dragonflies and damselflies. They lay their eggs on the soft bank, so that's why we try and keep a soft bank for the underwater nymphs. And there'll be mayflies around, plenty of flowers, nectar for them to feed on.
But not everything growing on the riverbank is as harmless as it looks.
One of the plants is hemlock waterdropwort, probably the most poisonous plant in Britain.
And that's just sitting here amongst this like idyllic bank.
Yeah, there's lots of it. It's a very common plant.
We round a bend. On one side, houses, moored boats and willow trees. And over on the other side sits the floodplain.
Ahead is the original river, and to the left where we're going to go is one of the canal sections which has been built to cut the corner.
Looming up ahead, things are starting to look a little tight. Literally, we're squeezing under this ridged bridge, and it looks like there's a whisper of space above us.
If the level was high, we wouldn't fit under this one when we've got heavy rain.
How often does that happen?
Through the summer, not too much, but
Yeah.
in the winter, yeah, a lot, definitely.
And as we're coming out of the bridge, it feels like it's changed.
It's a little narrower, so this
Yeah.
is the canal section, so they don't need to build it any wider than they need.
Oh my God, we're causing waves and they're so beautiful.
Again, because it's a bit narrower, you'll get a little bit more of the waves.
As the waves peter out, I spy a beautiful red cottage on the bank ahead.
Yeah, so this is Stoke Lock, and this is the cottage where one of the lynxmen would live.
What is a lynxman?
So a lynxman, called that because they each look after a length of river. So we've got 6 along the 20 miles, and they manage the vegetation is one of their main jobs, and also controlling the level of the river using the weirs.
From here, Derek turns the boat around and we start heading back upstream towards Dapdune Wharf. I've got plans to meet some of the lynxmen later to find out more about the role they play in keeping the river flowing. And something I really love about canals and rivers generally is since they've become, less industrial, they have created all of this beautiful space for nature.
So one small area I look after is what we call the island on the wharf. So there's a nice flower meadow there, and there are areas which used to be overgrown with bramble. There's nothing wrong with bramble. It's a good source of nectar and berries and everything, but we cleared a lot of that, and over the years the cowslips and bluebells, primroses, they've all spread. Small things that can make a big difference.
We are just coming back to Dapdune Wharf, so we've got another small person interested in waving at the boat. We've got a wide beam on our left.
The building straight ahead is where they used to store the gunpowder. The original store was in the centre of town, but as you can imagine, the locals didn't like too much being next to a gunpowder store, so they then moved out here.
And that's so interesting because we're now literally just drifting back into the wharf, and it's so picturesque. It is completely gorgeous. And it's so peaceful as we come back in.
Yeah, just silence, yeah.
Oh, well, Derek, thank you so much. This has been such a beautiful...
Okay, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. The weather's been perfect.
But I think now probably we need to go find out a bit more about these lynxmen and hear about how to control all of this water. I've just arrived at Unstead Lock. It's what you imagine when you think of a kind of fairy tale lock. It's manual, it's wooden, it's got these huge, big black and white arms, and if we're lucky we might just get to see one of the narrowboats pass through them. We're here to meet 2 of the lynxmen on the River Wey. Whoa, and I think I can see them. There's a little flat punt coming towards us, mowing their way through the seed-speckled river. Oh, it looks beautiful. Hi, I'm Marnie. Nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, I'm Emily, the Cattershall lynxman.
I'm Emma, I'm the lynxman for the Walsham stretch.
I've noticed you've pulled up in this, what I would describe as a magnificent boat. What is this and what is it used for?
My noble steed. It's our work boat, it's a punt, so we use these for all sorts of different jobs on the river. Today I've loaded it with tools or stakes, bits of wood for doing the work for the day. So it just means we can access different areas that you obviously couldn't do from the towpath side.
I'm a boater and I go up and down canals and rivers quite often, but I've never heard of a lynxman before. What's your job?
You might have heard of a ranger type role in the countryside. So it's sort of a river version of that really, where we're making sure it's all good for the boaters as well as the towpath users.
We were talking earlier actually about the lengthman versus lengthperson. Do you have a preference?
Traditionally it would have been lengthsman, and I think times have changed. It would have been a more male orientated role. We're not quite 50% male female, are we? But we're not far off. So some people might say lengthperson, but I don't think anybody minds too much.
So Emily, you've turned up in this punt with all of these tools. What have you just come from doing?
So I've been out with a group of lovely volunteers today. They come out with me every Wednesday, and we have been repairing a dog hole. It's basically bank erosion from visiting dogs that go in and out of the river at the same point. So they do then tend to find the next spot to start working on. So it's a never-ending task.
And there's not just dog holes to repair. There's floating pennywort clogging the water, Himalayan balsam weakening the banks, and ragwort, which is toxic to livestock. So the lengthsmen and volunteers are out here clearing weeds, cutting back branches, and keeping the towpath open for everyone.
You mentioned that it's about keeping this waterway usable for boats, but is it also about keeping it usable for nature?
We did actually just come across some nesting pheasants, we believe, so we swiftly moved away from that area just now. But yeah, it's one of those things, we'll do a bit more cutback in the winter time. I've got a family of ducklings at the moment, mallards. They've been hanging around the same spot, so it's quite nice seeing them most days at the moment as they get bigger and hopefully survive.
Always that thing when you see birds on the river of like, you're like, please let there be 5 ducklings tomorrow.
Yeah, you count and you keep hoping that there's the same count every day, yeah. So another really important part of our role is our water level management here of the navigation, and Emma's been doing it a fair bit longer than I have.
I feel like we've actually had a luxurious April because most of us have more or less slept, whereas quite often I have days and days on end where I'm potentially checking water levels day and night, every hour and a half, 2 hours, like having a baby that never grows up. You're still tied into the schedule of the river, and even though it's been dry, your brain is still thinking, oh, I need to check that.
How do you manage that water level if it is over? What do you do?
It's like pulling a plug out of the bath. So I've got a set of 4 everyday weirs and another 3 big floodgates. So if my level is too high, I will open one of my weir gates slightly, and I will send some of that water down through the backwater to settle the level in the navigation, and equally going in the other direction, I might be closing in to raise the level up.
With only 6 lengthsmen managing the river, communication is everything.
Emily will usually be the first to start opening up, and I know that, give or take, I'm about 7 hours behind being further down the river. So I've quite often phoned Emily in the middle of the night where we're trying to work out if we're going to get any sleep or not.
Technology has made things a little easier as cameras now watch key points along the navigation.
So it has made a big difference in how we're able to keep an eye on things, but I'm afraid you do still just look out the window.
It's exhausting work, but as Emma says, unpredictability is part of the appeal.
It's junk food on the go, it's bad cereal, it's occasional naps, and it is relentless. As terrifying as it is, that's also part of the joy. There are no 2 days the same here, and after 15 plus years, you still don't know when you get up in the morning what's going to happen during the day. And I think that's why people love it.
Yes, it's hard, but then I've been doing water level management, walking across one of the meadows, and I've seen a barn owl, sort of 5 o'clock in the morning. So there's all these little things that I just wouldn't be anywhere else other than out here.
Best office in the world, by far.
Oh, definitely.
I've left Emily and Emma to their rounds, and I am now back at Dapdune Wharf. But beyond the trees, I can hear the faint sounds of laughter and yoga?
On the out breath, we're bringing our knees in. On the in breath, we're bringing our feet back down.
In the distance, I can see a few people stretching, lying down on mats. What we're on here is the island. It feels a little bit magical. You've got buttercups littered throughout the floor. You can just see some forget-me-nots on the side, like with these little blue pops.
On the in breath, put your feet to the floor. On the out breath, bring your arms back down.
Every week here at Dapdune Wharf, there's an outdoor yoga session run by Dose of Nature. It's an NHS-backed project that helps people living with anxiety, depression, or other challenges to their well-being. The idea is simple. Use green spaces to slow down, breathe, and reconnect. Among those taking part today is Stephen.
relaxation, peace of mind, puts you in a good place for the day or the week. I suffer with social anxiety, and I find nature and the yoga helps with my anxiety, puts me in a better mood. But sometimes it's just nice to lay down with my eyes shut on the grass or against a tree.
For Stephen and many others, these sessions are more than just movement and breathing. They are a chance to step away from everyday pressures, lie beneath trees and feel part of something bigger than yourself. Leading the session today is Perdita, not just a yoga instructor, but also one of Dose of Nature's trained nature guides.
It's wonderful. I mean, the daisies, the buttercups, the wind, the birds, the chiff-chaff, the children on the River Wey, and people who seem to want to share and enjoy it with me. So that's pretty good for me.
Throughout the class, people were laughing and seemed really relaxed. So how did you create the space?
I think nature has got a lot to answer for in that. When we're on an island and this place holds you. And what's very heartening and moving is that some of these people have been doing yoga right the way through the year, and it's pretty cold in the winter.
Dose of Nature isn't just about yoga. It's part of a wider 8-week programme where patients are referred by their doctor and paired with a trained nature guide.
Dose of Nature is a wonderfully simple concept, but the impact is huge, and it's a frame of mind, which is that nature can heal.
And it isn't just a feeling. There's science behind it too. Why time in nature changes how we think and how we feel.
It's not just, woo-woo. It's about fractals and the soil chemicals and the tree chemicals and the ore and the sound. But it's just giving that exposure and sitting with them and opening their senses to it again.
And the results speak for themselves.
I understand that the impact is always, almost 99%, very positive. There is change, and that's really gratifying, because all we're doing is reintroducing them to something which is all around us.
As I leave the island behind, the sounds of laughter and yoga drift away through the trees, and I'm struck by how many ways this river connects us. From spotting dragonflies and baby ducklings from the electric boat, to hearing how the lengthsmen gently manage and care for the water day and night, to finding unexpected stillness here, under the shade of the trees. The River Wey has been serving its communities for almost 400 years, and it's still doing just that. A blue-green ecosystem alive with nature, history, and the people who care for it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Wild Tales. If you liked it, why not give us a like or follow? We'll be back soon with another episode in a couple of weeks, but if you can't wait that long, why not check out our other nature podcast, Nature Fix? Or if you like your history too, there's Back When. See you next time. Wild Tales is sponsored by Cotswold Outdoor, your outside retailer and epic guides to adventure. Quick breathers, calming walks, or heart-pounding hikes, we feel better when we get out more. Find quality kit and 50 years of outdoor wisdom. Plus, National Trust supporters get 15% off walking kit in-store and online. Feel in your element, in the elements at Cotswold Outdoor.